Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Imafara and today we are going to learn relative clauses together. What is a relative clause? It's a type of dependent clause that modifies a noun or pronoun in the main clause of a sentence, and it begins with a relative pronoun. In other words, it talks about the noun or the pronoun and gives more information about them. Relative pronouns, we have which, who, whom, whose, where, and that as relative pronouns. Which. We use which or that for animals and things. First, we use that as informal. We use it for which and who. We can actually easily replace it. But it's for informal sentences, and it's like spoken English. This is the book which I read it every day. I love that old house which has been in our family for generations. The city, what is famous for its architecture, attracts millions of tourists every year. The movie, which I saw last night, was really funny. And the computer, which I bought last week, has some really cool features. Who. We use who and that for humans, mostly if they are the subject of a relative clause. The woman who is wearing the red hat is my friend. The man who taught me how to play guitar was my grandfather. Or the doctor who treated my grandmother was very kind. The singer who won the competition last year has a beautiful voice. Whom. We use it for humans when they are the object, only the object of a relative clause. The person whom I spoke to on the phone was very helpful. The teacher whom I asked for help gave me some great advice. The candidate whom I voted for won the election. The friend whom I went to the movies with last night is a big fan of action films. Hint. We usually use a subject after whom. For example, in an exam, quiz, whatever, they say fill in the blanks, the teacher, blank, I asked for help. Okay, in this case, you can understand easily that the answer is whom. Why? Because after that, actually, we use a subject. I, he, she, or I don't know, names. The teacher whom I asked, the teacher whom she asked, the teacher whom David asked, the teacher whom Sarah asked. Okay, normally 99% of the time we use subject after whom. Why? Because whom is the object and we need a subject to complete our sentence. And in the spoken English, that's fine. You can use who instead of whom. For example, the person who I spoke to, the teacher who I asked for help. But grammatically, you should use whom when we're talking about the object. Whose is a relative pronoun used to show ownership or possession. The man whose dog barks all night is very inconsiderate. The company whose profits have been steadily increasing just announced a new product line. The book whose cover was torn was still worth reading. And the girl whose parents were both doctors is very intelligent. And where. You use where when you want to talk about places, buildings, areas. I said a hotel where the staff, that's a staff, where the staff were very friendly. The park where we had a picnic was beautiful. The museum where we saw an exhibit on dinosaurs was really interesting. And the city where I grew up has changed a lot since I left. And the advanced tips. Non-restrictive clauses are separated by commas and require the use of which or who. Therefore, we cannot use that after commas. First, what are non-restrictive clauses? We have two clauses for relative clauses. We have non-restrictive and restrictive clauses. Non-restrictive, actually, they are extra information. We can easily omit them. For example, the city where I grew up has changed a lot. For example, let me get back. Okay, the city where I grew up, this one, you should see, actually, I separated with two commas, after city and before has. Where I grew up here is a non-restrictive clause, and we can easily omit it. Okay, so it's exactly about this. So we cannot use that. Okay, we cannot use that. For example, in other situations, the movie which I saw last night, we cannot say the movie that I saw last night was really funny. Why? I mean in grammar terms. Okay, grammatically. Why? Because actually we use comma, and after commas we cannot use that. We should use which, who, whom, and others. Not whom, but which, who, where, and others. And use commas correctly again. When a relative clause is not restrictive, separated from the main clause with commas. When it's restrictive, don't use commas. And thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, just send me an email and make sure to subscribe. See you soon.